In Bardallah, at the northern end of the occupied West Bank, Israel's army has been bulldozing a dirt road and ditch between the community and grazing land on the hills behind it. Palestinian farmers from the fertile Jordan Valley village say they're worried they'll be excluded from pastures, lose livelihood, and eventually be driven from the village. That's what's happened in other parts of the West Bank. Farmer Ahmed Abu Dahuk says it's already happening in Bardallah.
Since the settlers came here, we were prevented from all these areas. This affects the sheep. No warm areas, no vegetation to feed them. The area they used to feed at was huge. Today we can no longer be there.
Israel's military told Reuters the works were to allow for security patrols after an Israeli was killed last August. It said the passage would allow for the, quote, continuation of daily life. Jewish settler outposts have appeared around the village since last year. Local families and Israeli human rights NGOs told Reuters the settlers intimidated semi-nomadic Bedouin shepherds to abandon their camps in the area. Those who are still there say they now live in fear of the Israelis.
We started to do guarding shifts for our children. We set up this tent as a surveillance and guard room. We take turns from after the dinner prayer until after the dawn prayers.
Israel's military has occupied the West Bank since the 1967 Middle East War. Jewish settlement building has roared ahead under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, now further emboldened by the return of Donald Trump to the White House. Most countries consider these settlements to be illegal. But since the start of the Gaza war in October 2023, rights groups have documented at least 43 new outposts built in the West Bank, sowing the seeds for future settlements. Palestinian Authority figures show at least 7 were built in the Jordan Valley. As outposts arrived, violence has also increased, locals and rights groups say, sharing video said to show attacks on Palestinian homes and schools. President Trump cancelled penalties imposed under former President Joe Biden for previous violence, so Israeli settlers no longer have to worry about US sanctions. Reuters was unable to contact any of the new arrivals in the outposts around Bardallah. Netanyahu's office and councils representing settlers did not reply to requests for comment. With each advance of Israeli settlements, the West Bank becomes more fractured, and the prospects for an independent Palestinian state to be built on contiguous land are increasingly undermined. Having already been forced from their homes in the 1948 war that created the State of Israel, many Palestinians are worried the occupation is quietly becoming a full annexation. The new Israeli-controlled road squeezes Bardallah against Highway 90, which ends at the line separating the West Bank and Israel just outside the village. The head of the Bardallah Council says the village has already been cut off from farmland and pastures. Since the road here will link up to Road 90, he says, this means they have entrapped Bardallah completely.